So every year people buy mums in the fall, they leave them in the pots, and then at the end of the season they just toss them out. And a lot of people don't know here in zone 7 and many other zones that mums are actually a perennial, and you could put them in the ground right now and they'll basically come back year after year and get bigger and bigger and beautiful, and you won't have to buy mums every year. So let's go ahead. I want to show you how to put them in the ground. So basically in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to plant these, how to get them into the ground successfully. And also October is the best time to get these in the ground because you still have some warm days. It allows the roots to kind of set into the ground. They have enough time before it gets cold. And basically they'll come back every year after year. Every spring you'll see them start pop up, and in fall they'll start blooming. And they're really a budget-friendly perennial that are very satisfying year after year. They just get bigger and bigger and bloom beautiful. And it's like, stop wasting money on buying mums every single year. Just throw them in the garbage. Plant them in a designated area because they look beautiful in the front of a house. So let me go ahead and just show you how to do it. All right, so here's the spot I chose to put this one in the ground. And I'm going to actually put it right here. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig a hole, probably about this size, just with a regular shovel. Nothing fancy. Come on down here and start going in circles. This is a little rough in here because there's I have a whole bunch of, there were stones here at one time, so some of the stones are still in the ground. Oh. So if you have a little bit of trouble, you can go into a circle like that, and then you can kind of start getting underneath this area. But I did cut a complete circle. I'm hitting some roots. Most likely they're from these bushes, because these bushes get really big quick, and they also send out roots really far out, kind of like a tree. That's why a lot of people get these boxwood bushes for their front yard. All right, so it's starting to get through a root right here. All right, here we go. So nice dirt, nice soil. I'm gonna go ahead and just take this out. Look at that. So I did have the fabric down for weeds a couple of years. It's probably like, actually I put it down like 7 years ago. But cutting the grass and everything just kind of hops over here and starts growing grass. But anyway, you can see here's a stake and here's the fabric I put down a long time ago, and that proves that this fabric doesn't really work good. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw this right into the compost pile. I was going to take this off and get rid of this, not put that in the compost. But anyway, we're stuck with a hole. I mean, we're set up with a nice hole here. Got these roots here, about this big. Ah, here's that big root I was hitting before. I don't know if you guys could see that. See if I could just move that over, put it right next to that. But yeah, so I got a nice decent sized hole here. So let me go ahead and get some more soil out. And I'm going to go down pretty far, and you're going to see we go pretty deep compared to the actual plant. That's because I want to loosen up the soil all the way around. It's almost like you loosen it up and you put it back in. You ever read the labels and they're like, make it 3 times bigger than you need to? And you're like, why? They don't really tell you why, but the bigger reason is obviously so you make the hole big enough. But the second thing is to really loosen those soil up, because when you put that new plant down, those roots are going to want to travel. And if you don't make it, let me actually just dig this real quick. Let me just explain this to you. So I don't need a hole this big, this deep, I should say. Let me just make sure the camera has a good view. Let me zoom in here. Oh, sorry. Let me go ahead and just zoom this in here. So I would say I made this, I would say it's about 20 inches wide, 20 by 20. And I made it more than a foot deep. And the real reason is you want to loosen up this soil. So when you're planting your new plants in, these little fresh roots that form will be able to kind of crawl out to receive water from different areas, like this right here. These little, what happens is they get root bound. If you don't make the hole big enough, they go root bound because the soil's so compacted around it that it's almost like you have like a cup in here, and the soil's not allowed to go outside this cup area. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. So if you make it bigger and then you repack the soil in lightly, these roots here are able to crawl out of the circle that they form from being in one of these pots. Let me grab a pot. Long story short is, it's almost like you're putting this pot into the ground when you leave the hole too small with very compacted soil. Since I made it bigger, the soil is going to be nice and loose, so it's literally taking this out of the picture and letting these roots, these little baby roots here, you can see these here, letting them just basically crawl out to receive water, and that's how the plant really gets big. So let me go ahead and get the plant now. Okay. So this is the plant we're going to be doing here. I'm going to see if we can get that on the video really good. It doesn't want to stand up. Anyway, let me zoom out. All right, so this is basically one of the mums I'm going to be planting. This is a beautiful auburn orange. It's like a beautiful, like orangey red, fire red, almost like little things of fire red. But anyway, so it comes into one of these pots here, and like I said, this was probably planted in like February, March, April, and it's good size. And what I'm gonna basically do is pop it out of the pot, just shake it upside down, and what I do is I put my fingers kind of like through the plant so it doesn't get broken, and then since I shook it already, it's loose and it comes out. But look how root bound this is. I mean, the root bound is here. It's not, thank God it's not like way up in here. But basically what I'm going to do, this is why you want to make sure your ground is, the ground is nice and soft around it. So all these little white, loose roots, I have a chance to actually get out and grow because they're not really that strong. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of break these up a little bit. And you're technically not hurting the plant by doing this. If I chopped them completely in half, then that would be different. But these are just the reach, the ones, there are like main roots too. But let's see here. So I'm basically breaking up that circular motion, that circular pattern of the roots. Just going to kind of rip this a little bit, not all the way through, but anyway. So what I did was I kind of just, actually see this longer root, this thicker one here? That's the one you don't want to break. The thicker root's in the middle. So I kind of open this up like this, loosen this up a little bit in the middle, and then I'm going to put it right into the ground. So let's go ahead and I'll show you that part too. All right, so let me see. I hope this is a good view for you guys. I'm going to take this pumpkin out of the way. Beautiful little white pumpkin my daughter likes, so I put that out. So anyway, we have our nice hole here, and basically, you notice, remember I took it and I opened up all these roots so it's nice and loose, and I have those little flaps. And if I put the plant in, it's a little too deep, so I'm going to backfill it with some of this soil that I got before. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and put in some of this fertilizer. Just kind of sprinkle some in. This is slow release fertilizer. It's basically promotes, for like different things like these flowers or like rhododendrons or even blueberry plants. So anyway, I'll put that in there. So I'm going to backfill a little bit with some of the soil just so the roots aren't directly right on the soil, because they can burn once you water it. If the fertilizer sits on the soil, it could burn it, and that's just not good for the plant. So once again, I'm just going to loosen these up, put it in here, and I'm actually looking pretty good. It's going to pop a little bit more in there, and then put this in here, kind of give it a little wiggle. And what I'm doing with my hands right now, I'm just kind of opening up those flaps. Can't exactly see on the camera, but I'm sure you could imagine. And then I'm just kind of just gently navigating it in there nice, and it's actually sitting beautiful. So I'm going to start backfilling it, bringing some of the soil to the front. This is the important part, just to kind of get it nice and even, and you know, kind of set it up so it's got a good foundation. And it's actually really enjoyable. Get down here on your knees and just nice cool soil and just go to town here and get this in the ground. So, but if you do this, these will come back every year. So make sure you put them in a spot you really like. So, and they come back good size. The first year, they might not come back full size like they are right now. Get all the soil here. I'm just like working it nice and around, and I'm like really getting my hands in there so I can feel the plant really well, and then making sure it's getting nice and compact. And the soil around it is kind of a little higher. It's kind of like still almost like a little bit of a dip, but it will grow into that hole a little bit better. And also it's good for when you water it, the water will kind of sit inside around the actual plant, kind of just saturate straight down. Because these plants, when they come from these nurseries, or even if you get them from Lowe's, whatever, they're when you water them, just the outside gets watered, but not the inside. So when you kind of make that little fishbowl around them, they kind of really get watered really well when you come in here with the water spigot and just kind of your water wand, and you just get it watered really well. So anyway, I'm very satisfied with this. It's nice and even all the way around. It's fertilized, and this will come back every year now. And I basically spent $30 on 5 of these beautiful mums, and I'm going to have them for quite a few years. And I think it's silly to keep going, you know, out and buying these. And now when these are dying back, and these will tolerate some of the frosts, but when the plant is pretty much done, you know, just cut it at ground level all the way across. You know, just, you don't want to rip it out of the ground or anything, then obviously it won't come back. But these are perennials. They'll come back and they'll be the same color and just as beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the other ones as I'm planting them. I'm going to plant the one right next to me on my left here, and I'm kind of putting them in a nice color order. So, all right, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. All right, here's another overhead shot of one more. I already dug the hole already, just because I'm going to remove some of these stones, some of these big rocks, because they're not really the best for when you're planting. And especially like when you're planting your garden vegetables. Garden vegetables do not like to compete with a lot of heavy stones. Carrots, all those things, they get funny size when you they start getting really funny looking when you try to compete with some stones. But anyway, so that's all done, and I already have my plant right here, and I started to break these little flaps just like I showed you earlier. Probably break them a little bit more. That sound is like almost like when you're watching a movie that has sound effects. It's like when you break like someone's arm, it's like you hear like the crack. It's pretty funny how they get some sound effects for movies. But anyway, I'm going to put a little bit of fertilizer in here, and I'm going to mix some of the soil back into here, removing these big rocks. All right, let me see. It's all about preparing your area here, making sure it's good. So, all right, let's go ahead and put this in here. This one's a little higher than I want it to be. I want to go a little deeper. So I'm going to get this. I kind of put some of the soil back in there I redid this so I don't have to show you this all over again. Get some of these roots out of the way. Some more stones. Okay, flaps out. All right, put those flaps, there we go. And I'm gonna massage it in. Oh man, that's nice. And then I'm just gonna backfill. Taking basically all our soil and backfilling it right here. Working it around the plant. Man, this is so satisfying. I love doing this. So the reason why I'm doing this, I had other bushes here and I took them all out, and I'm going back to simple. So just make sure your plant's straight also. I just had to straighten it out just a hair. But yeah, that's it. So backflowing this, patting it down around the actual plant itself. Found a little low spot here. Let me fill it in right there. Okay. Let me give you a different view now. Look at my hands. Let me go wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, I just want to show you another view from the ground here. I'm very satisfied how these came out. Nice, and look at the soil around there. Looking nice. Let's go check out this one here. See it down here, the soil. See, it's nice and compact around there. Same thing with this one. So if you notice, they look like they're pretty tight to the ground. This one's a different variety. It's a little, it basically springs up a little bit more, but this is the same as this orange one right here. There are different varieties of mums, and basically it looks like they're pretty tight to the ground because I learned the lesson in the past. If you don't bury them deep enough, over time they will erode and then they'll just die out. But look at how that's really hugging the ground. There's not a lot of gap between here and here, because most people will make it more looking like this one, but this is a different variety. This one's like a taller stem variety, but most people put them too high off the ground, and then eventually around the root area it's just going to erode, and then it's not going to grow back good. So you want to make sure they're tight, nice into the ground, and like I said, just really pack it in tight, nice around the edges there. So all right, let's get the last one done. All right, so now this is a spot where it's very important is to water it really well and just get some nice water going around the whole plant. And do this one here. All right, and I'm going to show you what I do next after I get done watering all these. All right, so I have the bag. I tore it open to show you, but these are called pine bark mini nuggets. I got this at, I think it was Lowe's, and they're basically just like pine bark. And what it is, it's just little pieces of pine tree bark ground up. And I'm going to actually put that around the bottom of all the plants. And that's really going to help with just keeping these plants nice and moist. And when I water them, it'll really hold the water from eroding. All right, I'll show you the after job after I'm done. Okay, here we are at the end of the job, and basically your mum's in place. You want to have a healthy ring of mulch around each plant. If you notice, look at this one here. It's pretty thick too. It's like 2 or 3 inches thick, and that's going to really protect it for the days to come. And, you know, still have a lot of warm days coming up, so it doesn't dry out. And it's also going to protect the roots when the wintertime comes. It will keep it warm, believe it or not. So this is a job well done, and everybody's happy, and you'll see these every single year. And here's basically a wider picture of what it looks like of when you basically plant your mums. And when my grass grows in next year, it's going to look even nicer. All right, this was fun making this video. So don't toss your mums, plant them, and they'll reward you every year. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Hey, check out my second channel, Chicken Manzo. My chickens are always helping me in the garden, making sure that my cabbage transplants taste just right. They literally eat them right down to the ground like a skeleton. Caught red-handed, look at that.